Welcome. I've got my coffee. Let's watch some stuff.
This is why rental houses terrify me. So Paula was staying at an Airbnb outside of Detroit by herself. Her job had sent her there for training. And immediately in the house, she starts feeling like something is off. There was always weird shadows outside the windows, and she would hear footsteps on the roof really late at night. She ends up locking herself outside of the rental the next day, but it's not a huge deal because the property manager actually lives in the house next to it. So she asks him about the footsteps she hears on the roof at night, and he says that they have lots of raccoons in the area, but she kind of knows that it's not a raccoon. He lets her back into the house and tells her that her keys are on the bedside table, which that's kind of weird. How did he know that? Another thing about the property manager is he's an older gentleman, so he listens to his TV on full volume like all night, and she can hear it from her house. So the next night, it's kind of the same thing. Weird shadows outside the window, creaking on the roof, and then her neighbor's insanely loud television. And Paula decides that she's had enough, so she opens her side door to go over to her neighbor's house to tell him to knock it off. And that's when she stops in her tracks. She can see his TV through the window. And on it is Paula, standing at the door, looking out the window. And then she sees him get up out of his chair, walk over to the window, and smile at her.
Now, my first red flag would obviously be the management being right next door. That's a little too close for comfort. Second red flag, obviously, telling me where my keys are. I think at that point I would have been out of there. But wow, that's creepy.
What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
When I was a kid, my family and I lived in a house in Texas. It was a 2-story house and my parents were putting my little sister to sleep in her crib. Then they went on downstairs and I continued to play with my toys at the top of the staircase. For some random reason, I decided to look at the bottom of the staircase and I saw my sister crawling around on the ground. So I thought to myself, I wonder how she got down there. Then I remembered, my parents had just put her in the crib about 5 minutes ago. So while I stare at her, I realize that she's a little pale and she has huge black eyes, but otherwise she looks just like my sister. So naturally, I start screaming and my parents come running. I'm hysterical and my parents are asking me what's wrong. I point and I say, look, there's Sneha, she's at the bottom of the staircase. But she was gone. Around my 18th birthday, my family and I took a trip to India. We were visiting my grandma and one night she decided to oil and braid my hair and my sister's hair. So as my grandma was braiding my sister's hair, she looked over at my mom and she said, Ritu, Sneha's twin would have been a girl. I look at my mom and I say, what twin? And my mom looks at me and says, Swasti, I never told you this, but I miscarried Sneha's twin.
So I'm gonna throw a wrench in this story real quick. The mother miscarried the twin, which happens, it sucks. It sucks. But the twin that passed away continued to grow to the point of being a crawling child after it was already gone and passed away. Yeah, that checks out.
Watch out, you better not die, you better not crash, I'm telling you why, 'cause you told your wife you're at work.
Complete segments of Todd Standing's filming of Sasquatches in another area where he's worked on, and with him explaining the background, which is so important. And I'm firmly convinced that he has filmed Sasquatches and that he has
an elusive creature. Alright, just squat it down. Yeah, let me see your camera, I'll do it.
Now, while I'm completely on the fence about the actual existence of a real Bigfoot or Sasquatch, I think a lot of these videos are fake. And I don't understand everybody's obsession with finding this elusive creature. I think, you know, if he's that big and he's that angry, why don't we just leave him alone?
A security camera records a child who's inside a crib when something downright creepy is captured. The child's mother had posted the following video as she doesn't know what to make of it. She was in the same room as her son when out of nowhere, he began to cry. It wasn't until watching the footage that she was left disturbed. The mother writes, "I'm still trying to figure out if the camera glitched or something pushed my baby. This is what was caught." The child all of a sudden disappears from the camera's view. It appears that he was pushed over forcefully. The question is though, what exactly had pushed him over? The cradle in the back continues to swing as the child vanishes from the frame, suggesting that this wasn't a glitch. If it was, then the swing would have skipped a frame, just like the child had. But, as you can see, not a single frame is skipped. So then, if this wasn't a glitch, then what was it? No one else is seen in the room except the mother and child, and nothing appears to have pushed him over. As with all videos, it's up to you to decide if this is something paranormal or not. The child's mother has yet to figure that out. But as always, feel free to share what you think.
I'm gonna go with creative editing on this one. The crib was in one spot, and then after the baby had been pushed, the crib was in a different spot. Pretty sure there is a type of editing software where you can just change a portion of the video and then kind of catch it up with time. Yeah, I'm gonna go with creative editing. Let me know what you think.
Could our understanding of spirituality be deeply connected with entities not of this world? And have alien intelligences been manipulating our consciousness throughout history, some with positive intentions and others much more sinister? But what if these alien entities aren't just extraterrestrial, but interdimensional, that is, influencing us from beyond space and time? The whistleblower at the recent congressional hearing suggests that that's a very real possibility.
You have mentioned that there's interdimensional potential. In terms of multidimensionality, that kind of thing, the framework that I'm familiar with, for example, is something called the holographic principle.
And what if some of these negative entities want to enslave humanity, but not through chains or weapons, but by manipulating our very consciousness, while other positive entities have the exact opposite agenda and want to see us evolve and reach a higher state of consciousness? What if there was a war for the minds of humanity going on right now, and could it be tied to our understanding of spirituality?
I love exploring different theories around aliens and their presence and what we as a people tend to think that they're here for. But how important do we think we are that there's some kind of war going on for our spirituality or our consciousness? Really? We're so insignificant in this universe, but to think that we're so special that other beings want to fight over our brains? Our brains.
Jason Anthony works for a security company in Colombia doing surveillance for a condominium, and in one specific night he captured something strange on camera. His buddy was talking to someone that wasn't there. He was able to capture the entire event through a CCTV camera, and this is what happens next. Check this out.
¿Qué hizo? ¿Era Luis? ¿Quién está hablando ahí? Sí, ¿con quién está hablando ahí luego usted?
Una propietaria de la casa 125.
Marica, la propietaria de la casa 125 falleció hace como unos 20 días, marica.
No, ¿cómo así? ¿Qué me está diciendo?
Sí, no, usted está hablando ahí solo, marica. Lo estoy viendo aquí por la cámara, se está hablando ahí solo.
No, como mierda, loco.
What happened here?
All right, full disclosure. Personally, I don't believe in ghosts, spirits, demons, paranormal activity. Not my gig. But I do get scared thinking about those things for the simple fact that it's not explained. It's not 100% proven that it doesn't exist. So there's still that little lingering thought in my head that's like, maybe it was a ghost, run. Yeah. But I think that one looked a little set up, especially with that little parkour juke at the end while he was running away.
Have you ever heard of the Poughkeepsie tapes? It's a collection of 800 tapes shot by serial killer Edward Carver. They were a video record from the point of abduction to the post-mortem mutilation of all of his victims. Starting with the first one, 8-year-old Jennifer Gorman.
Hi. I like your dolls. I said I like your dolls. What's that one's name?
Susie. I'm not supposed to talk to strangers.
Well, you're not supposed to have bad manners either. You know, if I was the big bad wolf, there's nothing you can do about it. You want to say something to the camera?
Like what?
Oh, maybe you could say I am a happy, pretty little girl.
No.
You want to see what it looks like through the camera?
No.
Here. Oh.
Her body was found 50 miles away from her house, and what he did to her was downright evil. But what he did to his second victim was just plain demonic.
Okay, that was awful. That was awful. I've heard of these Poughkeepsie tapes before. Just once I heard a mention about it, but I never really looked into it. And this is the first time I'm actually seeing some footage. I do this a lot. This is the first time I'm seeing some footage from these Poughkeepsie tapes. And while I don't think they're necessarily authentic, it's kind of Blair Witch-ish to me. I do think that there definitely is some locker somewhere in police or FBI warehouse somewhere. These nasty, disgusting videos that these heinous serial killers have collected over their times. That's something you don't want to go public. Well, you know what that means. It means we're done for today. I really appreciate you hanging out with me, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a great day.